how did you step up in cybersecurity?
Yeah.
Was it a career path you always envisioned?
It was focused on software engineering, but they had a few subjects like networking or operating systems. So what I would suggest, understand how a website works, what happens in the front end, what happens in the back end, what is front end, what is back end. So you learn about these basic fundamental things. Start learning about what are cookies, what is the authentication mechanism, what is access control. You can start with the basic programming language that is required for websites, which are your JavaScript, HTML, CSS. So learn about these languages. There are two sides of things. One is the defender and then one is the attacker.
For example, Pakistan attacked India. So it's like a red team we can call Pakistan and we defend ourselves.
Yeah.
There are a lot of challenges, right?
Basically, the main challenge that I said that we are lacking skilled professionals. There is a high demand. When I say high, even at RedFox Security, we are always for the hunter.
What would be the future of cybersecurity in 2025? Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Sweetie Gurjar, your host for today, and we are exploring the fascinating world of cybersecurity. If you have ever wondered how to start a career in this field and what it takes to excel, you are in the right place. Joining me today is Shashi, a senior consultant at RedFox and an experienced professional in cybersecurity. Shashi, thank you for being here. And how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good too.
Yeah.
Thanks. Shashi, let's start with your journey. How did you step up in cybersecurity?
Yeah.
Was it a career path you always envisioned or did evolve over the time?
Yeah. So, hi guys, welcome back to another podcast. So, my name is Shashi, and as Sweetie said, I am a senior security consultant at RedFox Security. And going to the question, how did my journey started? So, actually, my journey is a bit different, not the traditional approach that someone can take. But I was a developer before switching to cybersecurity. So I did my bachelor's in information technology. So at that time, since it was focused on software engineering, but they had a few subjects like networking or operating systems. So when I was studying there, these subjects interested me more rather than the traditional data structure algorithms or the DBMS or software engineering. So I like these subjects which are networking and operating system, which are geared toward cybersecurity. So that's how my interest started in, and that's when I started learning about this field, which is cybersecurity. Then I started learning books, which we will be going to. I will going to say which books are good to read if you are going to start in this country, in this field. So after that, what happened? I got placed in Infosys because if you are in information technology or in computer science, in your college for placement, not much company come, right? Most of the company come, but most of the companies are for software engineering role.
Okay.
But there was no opportunity as such in cybersecurity. Okay. I was waiting for such company, but they did not come. So then I just joined Infosys as a software engineer. Again, there I worked on the development side of things, but I had the passion towards cybersecurity from the very beginning. So at that time, I thought, shall I switch my job or shall I pursue this software engineering role, which is also a very good role.
Okay.
But after working on some projects, I thought, let's give cybersecurity a try.
Okay.
And then I will see how it goes. So then I started learning about this field in depth. I know about it earlier, but now I was all into this. So what I did, in my daytime I do my job, and in the night time I study about this field. So that's how I got interested in this, and then I learned about different attack vectors and different fields of cybersecurity.
Okay.
So for me, learning is very important, and this cybersecurity field is a field where you will learn a lot. You will not get stagnant.
So I'm very curious actually.
Yeah.
earlier you work as a development in team, but this is very different from the developer, right? You are working as a red team. So can you tell me, is there any similarities between two or total different?
I would say there are more differences than similarities. So software engineering is about creating stuff.
Okay.
And this red teaming is about breaking the stuffs. So it's totally different. Here we are making software, here we are breaking the software.
Okay.
But if you have some knowledge how you can create something, then you know how to disassemble that and break those things.
Okay.
So that really helped me, my development knowledge. So I knew how website work, how backend code looks like. So for me, it is more easier to transition. Because
so you know both the aspects of development also and this breaking that as you said. Shashi, can you tell me what are the first steps for anyone to get into the cybersecurity in 2025? What would be the future? We will talk later, but can you tell me the first step? If, for example, if I want to get into this field, then what would be the skills and the area which I have to cover?
Okay. So you have to learn the basics. When I say basic, it means the basic of networking concepts.
Okay.
And basics of operating system. You can start with Linux. So the networking fundamentals as well as this Linux fundamentals will help you in every domain of cybersecurity. So these are must.
Okay.
So when I say basics of networking, you should know the TCP IP model, and you should know what is the difference between a TCP and UDP. You should know the how DNS works, how routing works in internet. A great book I can suggest that you can get started with networking is Computer Networking, a top-down approach.
Okay.
So that's a very
Did you read this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that time when I was studying about these fields, there was no YouTube or any such content like that. There was, but it was not that popular.
Okay.
So I had to take the traditional approach, which is going through the books, reading the books. So I went out to my college library and started about reading this this book, a wonderful book.
During your college days or with job?
Yeah, with job it's different, but in college days, as I told you,
already prepared that you.
Yeah, I had
Oh,
so
nice.
at that time I had the computer networking as a subject in college. So at that time I started reading this book.
Okay.
And I have read this book twice or thrice. So that's a very, very, very good book if you want to make your networking skills at a top level.
Okay.
So once you have that, then you can transition into the the operating system side of things. You can start with Linux.
Okay.
So this is what I did. I also read about a book which was on Unix, because it's the concept is similar, Unix and Linux. So at that time you can learn about different commands of Linux and what are the basic things required to operate a Linux operating system.
Okay.
So that's how you can start it. Then you can start with once you have these knowledges, then you can start with the basic web hacking. You can learn about before hacking, you have to learn about how web works.
Okay.
What is HTTP protocol? What is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? What are your cookies? What are your authentication mechanisms? You have to learn about these things. Then you can look at the hacking side of things. So networking, then Linux, web basics, as well as I would add a little bit of programming as well.
Like you said before that there are many domains. Can you tell me how can someone decide to opt? I mean, which domain they can choose or to specialize in?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, because when we are starting out, we will see web hacking, hardware, mobile app, red teaming. So how can they choose one domain? I would say don't limit yourself to a single domain. Maybe try learning some fundamentals of each of the domains, and then you can think of which domain you like, and then you can just get master in that domain. But basic knowledge of each of the domains are must, so that because each of the domains of cybersecurity are linked.
Okay.
So it's not like if you are working on a red team engagement, you might get some websites.
Correct.
So that's where you have to learn the web application side of things, so that you can apply that knowledge there. So you have to learn a little bit about each of the domains and be a master in one or two domains.
Correct. Like you said, that web application domain.
Mhm.
Can you tell me what are? How can someone learn web application as a beginner?
Yeah.
So
what I would suggest, first you have to understand how a website works.
okay.
What happens in the front end, what happens in the back end, what is front end, what is back end. So you learn about these basic fundamental things, and then you can start learning about what are cookies, what is the authentication mechanism, what is access control.
Okay.
You can start with the basic programming language that is required for websites, which are your JavaScript, HTML, CSS. So learn about these languages. So once we have the fundamentals ready, sorted out, maybe try to build a website so that you will know how a website works. Then you can look at the hacking side of things. Okay. Then you can maybe learn about different attack vectors. So one such good resource is OWASP Top 10. So they release the guides on the top 10 vulnerabilities. Okay. So you can read about that, how this vulnerability works. What are the fundamental of these vulnerabilities. Then you can opt for Portswigger Academy. That's a very good resource. When I was learning there, I was reading from the Web Application Hackers Handbook. Okay. But I think they have ported out to a website which is Portswigger Labs. Okay. So you can start with Portswigger Labs. Even RedFox Security has some courses on web application testing, and that's a very good website. Why? Because the approach that we take is totally practical and real world. Okay. So that you can take. So when you do Portswiggers, it will tell you about different type of vulnerabilities. But you will lack the practical knowledge, how a pen test looks like for a web application. Okay. So that's what we included in our course. In our course, we have implemented the practical side of things, how you can pen test a web application. Okay. And how you can deliver a proper report. So these kind of things are missing in Portswigger, but you can again there is you can learn both of the resources, and you will be in a good place to do web hacking. Okay. So this is how you can get started. Again, I think right now most of the vulnerabilities in web hacking are coming in the access control. So learn about how access control works and how you can break them. Learn about the newer technologies in web hacking, which are your how you can exploit JWT tokens, what is OAuth flow. So learn about these things. So that's how we can get started. Actually, there are a lot of things you have to learn. Yeah. Me as a beginner, you already said so many things. So that's why we are coming with this podcast, so that they can just pause at each of the... But I can access, you refer that RedFox has their own course on websites. This is very helpful. You are working as a red team. For example, I want to get into the red team. So there is a red team and the blue team. If someone does not know the difference between red team and blue team, can you tell me for the viewers that what's the difference between both of them? So when you're initially coming on this cybersecurity field, there are two sides of things. One is the defender and then one is the attacker. So I have seen that many people are also confused which side to take. Okay. So again, there learn about basics of both the fields, and then you can decide which interests you. Okay. So blue team is like on the defender side of things, where they are putting the defense solutions to protect the websites. And here we are basically testing their defense, what they have put out for their websites or networks. So as a red teamers, we try to see the hacking side of things, where we try to break the whatever protection they have, the blue teamers have applied, and then we try to break through that. So it's all about the attacker and defender. For example, Pakistan attack India. So it's like a red team, we can call Pakistan, and we defend ourselves. So it's a blue team. Yeah, right? It's kind of that, not exactly, but kind of that. Okay. Like a metaphorically I use. Actually, what skills required in red team? So again, coming to that, how you can get started with red teaming. So what I have seen in red team engagement. So when I'm on a red team engagement, I see most of the environments are Windows Active Directory environments. Okay. So I will say start with the fundamentals of Active Directory. So how a domain looks like, what are groups, users, organizational units, what are group policies. So learn about these things. And then you can try configuring a Active Directory lab. And then you have the fundamental knowledge of Active Directory. Then you can learn about different attack vectors that are in Active Directory. So you can start with that. Learn about Kerberos. Learn about NTLM. Then you can learn about NTLM relay attacks and certificate-based attacks. So in our red team engagements, most of the time we are getting domain admins using these attack vectors, which are relay-based attacks and certificate-based attacks. That's what is lacking in the market. There are no such content regarding relay-based attacks and certificate-based attacks. So that's why. Actually, I am preparing the course for the red teaming course. So there I have mostly focused on the relay-based attacks and Active Directory and this Active Directory certificate-based attacks. Apart from that, the other basic attacks, which are your Kerberos roasting, Azrep roasting, RBCD, and unconstrained allegations. So you can start reading about. So there are very good blogs right now. So you can read about
it's on RedFox Security.
Yeah, it's on RedFox Security. Or if you want to go deeper, there is a very excellent blog from adsecurity.org. You can read about different attack vectors of Active Directory from there as well. But if you don't like the scattered approach and if you want to combine everything in one place, then RedFox Security has a very good course on the Windows red teaming, where we will teach what we are finding in real world assessments. So in real world assessments, we are not getting domain admins using Kerberos roasting, Azrep roasting, delegation based attacks. So these are, so many courses I have seen, they are focusing on these type of attacks, which we don't find on real world. In real world, we find relay based attacks and Active Directory certificate based attacks. So we have focused on that. So once you have covered the Active Directory side of things, then you can learn about the evasion techniques, how you can evade different protections that these corporates are placing in their Active Directory environment. You can start with evading antivirus. Once you have that knowledge, then you can start with evading the EDR solutions. So once you have that, then you can learn about what are the different C2 frameworks. So once you have these knowledge, I think you are good with your red team journey.
This is very, very helpful information you share with us. You said that DevSecOps also. Can you tell me what it is about and what are the skills required to get into this information?
So DevSecOps is about securing the DevOps. Okay. So first, if you want to make a career in DevSecOps, you have to learn about DevOps. What is DevOps? So learn about that, then learn about different tools that are involved in DevOps. Learn about how a CI/CD pipeline looks like, how you can implement different security solutions there. So you can start with that. So some of the technologies in DevOps are, you can learn, again, the networking and Linux concept will help in any of the domains. Then you can learn about how Git works. Then there are different solutions like Terraform, you have Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible. So you can read about these things. Once you have knowledge on this, then you can learn about the security side of things, how you can integrate different security solutions in the DevOps pipeline. You can, there are two different technology, which are two different things, I would say, like you can learn about what is static testing, what is dynamic testing, what are the security solutions for these type of testing, and how you can implement these security solutions in the DevOps pipeline, so that when your software is getting from the initial stage to the deployment stage and then to the production, how the vulnerabilities are prevented in the initial stages. You are not finding the vulnerabilities after the app is in production, but you are catching the vulnerabilities earlier in the CI/CD pipelines by implementing these security solutions.
Nice. Shashi, can you tell me how to start learning cloud security? So this is also very important. Viewers also want to know more about this.
So cloud is one of the areas which is very interesting to me. And very dear to my heart, because when I started learning the cloud, I actually loved it. So, and this is one of the upcoming fields. So how we can get started in cloud? I would say take one of the cloud providers. Let's say you can take AWS, and then you start learning about the architecture of AWS,
Okay.
how AWS works, and what solution they offer, and how they are different from, or I would say how things works in cloud. Learn about that. Then you can learn about the different services provided by AWS. And the most important thing that you have to learn about cloud is the identity and access management solutions.
Correct.
So these are the places where misconfigurations happen in this identity and access management, as well as the in different services of the cloud providers.
Nice.
So learn about these services. Then you can switch to different cloud vendor, and let's say you are onto Azure. Again, learn about their architecture. More or less, the architectures are same for any of the cloud providers.
Okay.
But there is little bit of differences. So once you have a core knowledge of cloud, then you can just transition in any of the clouds. So once you know how cloud works, what is the basic architecture of cloud,
Okay.
then you can learn about the different misconfigurations that can happen in different services of these cloud providers. A very excellent resource is the Hactrix blog. So you can always refer that, because they have attack vectors on each of the cloud solutions. So you can start learning that. There are different labs also on cloud vulnerabilities. I think one excellent lab is from Bishop Fox. I think the lab is called Cloud Foxable.
Okay.
There is one from Rhino Security Labs. I think it's the, I am forgetting the name of the lab, but they have one. You can Google it. Scout the lab from Rhino Security Labs.
Okay.
You can find one an amazing lab.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is how you can get started.
Okay.
This.
This is very a good information about what you have shared with us. But I just want to know, if I want to learn the hardware security,
Okay.
what skills I need to get into it, and what is it very important in 2025?
Yeah.
What is the role in in cybersecurity?
Yeah, for hardware, right?
Right.
So yeah, so hardware is growing. Hardware security field is growing a lot. Why? Because of we are seeing nowadays many IoT devices.
Correct.
So if you just look around you, you will see lots of IoT devices. You don't even know it's an IoT device. So that's why hardware hacking or hardware security field is growing. Because in coming future, you are going to see these devices a lot.
Okay.
Right? So how you can get started in this field? So I think you start with the basics. You start what are the different components in hardware, what is a register, what is a transistor, learn about these things. Then maybe you can look around and in your home and you can find some device. Try breaking that and see, try to learn how you can identify these components. So whatever components you learn, try to identify these components in that hardware device that you have just broken.
Okay.
Once you are able to identify the things, then you can learn about the serial communication, which are your UART and JTAG. Once you have that knowledge, then you can start learning about the forensic side of things, where you can learn about, or you can also learn the chip off techniques. And once you can learn that, you try to take the chip out of a hardware device, and then you try to perform the forensic knowledge that you have learned on that, and then try to extract something from that. So this is how you can get started, and then you can learn about the advanced attacks that are in this hardware security.
Okay.
So I would say, I think in all the domains, you have to be curious. Okay. If you are curious, then I think that's a very good place you are in. And you have a hunger of knowledge or learning. Correct. Then I think cybersecurity is very grateful for you.
Right. Sashi, lot of people talk about AI and machine learning. So if someone is very good at this, so this particular AI, how important, can you relate this with cybersecurity?
So what we are seeing now that AI security solutions are coming in cybersecurity as well. Okay. So now we have to evade AI technologies. Also, many of the websites that we are pen testing here in RedFox Security, we are seeing that there are some AI components to that as well. So now you have to learn about artificial or machine learning hacking as well.
Correct.
So how can you start it with that? So I think this AI field is still growing. So there are not many attack vectors as of now, but as this field is growing, you're going to see a lot many attack vectors. How attackers, because attackers are always evolving, right? And us cybersecurity professionals are also evolving.
Correct.
So we have to learn about AI ML hacking as well. So you can right now most of the attacks are geared toward LLM models. So LLM models are basically large language models which are trained on a very big set of data. So your chat GPT uses LLM models. So you have to learn about different attack vectors in LLMs. You can learn about prompt injection. You can learn about how you can jailbreak that LLM model. So these are the attack vectors. Since again, there are not many attack vectors, but as the field will grow, you can learn about these attack vectors that are coming out. So always look on the internet, look out for different attack vectors that are coming in any of the field of cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is not a stagnant field. Right? Every day new technologies are coming out. Since the new technologies are coming out, there are chances of some security vulnerabilities in that. So you have to keep learning.
Sashi, for the students' perspective, what is more important for them as a the practical or the certification? There are a lot of certificate for this particular field. People are just very hurry ki ye bhi chahiye, wo bhi chahiye. So but I mean, what is more important for them? Certificates, hand-on experience, or what?
Yeah. So I would say don't run after certifications. Certifications are good to have, but you have to learn the practical skills. Okay. Just don't do certification just you want to do it. So first, if you want to learn or if you want to get a certification in a certain field, I would say you try to learn that whatever the content of the certification by yourself. And if you're feeling that you are not you alone are not able to find that information or you are not able to learn it, then you can go for certification. So otherwise you will go here and there for the different resources, but also that's a good approach. But if you are like a person who don't like to read from different places, you don't like to do a lot more research, or maybe you don't know about the field, then you can opt out for certification, because certifications provide a streamlined content, and that you can do. And again, don't do the certification just by doing for the sake of doing it. Whenever you're doing certification, always look at whether the certification provides some practical component, because there are many certification out there who just teaches you theory. Theory is important, but a theory without a practical knowledge is nothing.
But Sashi, is there any certificate, students, it help with, I mean, resume. So is there any certificate to help students to,
for the resume, I'm saying. So again, as I said, don't do certification just by putting it on your resume. Right? If you have the knowledge and if you have not put the certification, I think you are going to get a good job, because it's all about skills. At RedFox Security, I do interviews. I have never looked at their certification ever. It's good to have, but again, I have seen people with many certification coming out for the interview, and they lack the practical knowledge. They don't know how to apply the certification stuff on the real world.
But Sashi, as a fresher, what about creating a standout resume?
So again, what you can do, you can start by, there are different online labs out there where you can practice. So you can start with the labs. There are many CTF challenges. We at RedFox Security also host CTF challenges. So once you have the theoretical knowledge, then you can learn about, then you can apply that knowledge on the labs. And then that information you can put out on your resume. And again, if you are a person who don't like to do things from different resources, then you can opt for certifications as well. And then you can put the certification on the resume. But again, most of the people don't hire by just looking at your certifications. You have to have the practical knowledge. You have to have the knowledge to how to apply this knowledge that you learned from the certification onto the real world. applications.
So you are talking about challenges. I want to know that what challenges you are facing in cybersecurity,
Yeah.
because students want to know that there must be some challenges for them also.
Yeah.
If they have two options, first is the development field, they should opt that, because everyone are doing this thing, and this is a very not that much market in India, like I have said, but I don't know about the facts, but what I'm looking for, I have my friends, they are in the development field, but they don't know about much the cybersecurities and all. I mean, their parents are also not allowing them that they should not be the case. So how do you face it first? And my question was actually, what challenges you are facing as a red team? You are working as a red team in cybersecurity. So can you tell me that?
So coming to the question, like you just mentioned that people who are working on development side, I think how can they learn about cybersecurity? So if they are doing great in their development and they are enjoying that, there is no need to switch it, right?
Okay.
But if you are if you're reading something, or if you're watching a YouTube video in cybersecurity and that interests you, then you can try looking out for this field. Okay. I think opportunities are great in both the fields, but the main challenge that we are facing here is the lack of talent.
Okay.
There is a high demand of a security professional who know the practical stuff.
So there is a gap.
There is a knowledge gap because
labor.
Okay. So we are not, when I am interviewing, I would say out of 10, 7 or 8 are not at the level that we required. They are not skilled enough. They have the basic knowledge. That's why we are.
Yesterday you said that the person have certificates, but they.
Okay. So this is this is the reality. They are learning. They are doing certifications, but they are not applying. They don't know how to apply that in real world. That's why when at RedFox Security, whenever we are building a course. What we are doing different in our courses from other courses is that we are whatever the real world knowledge that we are seeing and the methodology that we are applying on our engagements, that's what we are putting on the on our courses. Yes, our courses have some theory part, but I would say that 70% we always keep the ratio of 30 to 70. So 30% should in our courses is theory, and we are mainly focused on the practical part, which is 70%. And all of the knowledge is what we are seeing in the real world engagements.
And Shashi, like you said, RedFox Security is also selected in Black Hat 2025. So like you said, hardware is very important. Chip off is very important. So our
so that's a very very great news for our audience, like who don't know about this news. That
actually I did not know about what is Black Hat. And the RedFox Security is going to deliver this training at Singapore. So this is a very huge opportunity for us also.
So Black Hat is like one of the biggest security conferences.
Correct.
And we are selected there for our chip of forensic course. So that's a very good news.
Impressive and
that's right.
Good.
That's right. So if anyone is interested in hardware security side and they want to learn chip of techniques and the forensic side of things on the hardware, they can look at the Black Hat websites, and if they are really interested, they can subscribe for our course.
It's a Black Hat Asia 2025 Singapore. If you want to get this course, you can register on Black Hat training website also. This is very good news. Shashi, you said challenges. There are a lot of challenges, right? Did you complete that?
So basically the main challenge that I said that what I am seeing is that we are lacking skilled professionals. There is a high demand. When I say high, even at RedFox Security, we are always for the hunt. But we are not able to get the right candidate because of the skills. So that's the main challenge that we are facing. On the student side of things, I think what they are facing challenges, I think they are also lacking the good content. They know the attack vectors. They know the theory, and they even know the practical side of things. But how they are lacking. What they are lacking is how they can apply this knowledge on a real world. What is the methodology that they are lacking? The methodology that what they are lacking. So that's what they can opt out.
Sashi, you refer students, you refer cybersecurity's challenges, but I want to know what challenges you are facing. You as you working in.
So I'm working.
What you are challenges? I mean, because
there are challenges, but as such, I take these challenges in a good way. Like say, let's suppose that right now I think the industry is not looking at cybersecurity professional in a way that we want. Basically, they think us like a burden.
Right.
In a sense that once they have built their application, they are thinking that is now I have to allocate some funds for the cybersecurity side of things.
Correct.
That's one of the challenges that we want to bridge that gap. So we have to make them, our clients or the companies, know that hey, we are here to protect yourself.
Correct.
If we are finding issues in your code base or in your website or in your network, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. We are basically protecting you from the attackers.
Correct.
So that's one of the challenge that I can say. Apart from that, I really love this field. Apart from that, I don't see any challenge as of myself that I'm seeing.
Okay. Let's talk about reward. I mean, there must be some reward as you working in cybersecurity. Is it finding bugs or I mean, what would you say?
So for me, the biggest reward is delivering a good client report. Okay, for me that is really important because that's what is getting to the client. Okay. So if I am able to deliver a good report, that's a reward for me. Okay. I think in a previous podcast we discussed about the importance of reporting.
Correct.
Okay, so
writing report is very
you
important.
Might have seen me that I am always working on a report rather than the hacking stuff. Okay, so yeah, again at RedFox Security we take our reports very seriously because that's what making an impression on the client.
Correct.
Client is not going to impressed by your hacking skills because that's what they are not seeing. They are seeing on from the report. So for me, a good report is my reward.
Correct. So reporting is very important in this field also.
Yeah, I think that's what fresher needs to understand.
Correct.
So that's why when I do challenge, I always tell them to give us a very good report because we are also judging on their reporting capabilities. So again, I think in the previous podcast, as I said that reporting and hacking skills I rated as 50-50. It goes hand in hand.
Correct. Very important. Sashi, how do you see this career in 2025? What would be the future of cybersecurity in 2025?
Yeah.
Can you tell me?
Yeah. So I think it's a booming field. Don't get scared about the AI technologies. About the AI security solutions, they are good, but they are not at the level that we want them to be.
Okay.
So we are finding issues in that as well. So cybersecurity is going to be a very growing field in the coming years, and you are going to see many job opportunities as well. Since the field is growing, the opportunities will come, and it is coming already. That's why we are also at in hiring mode, every month of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a growing field.
Okay. Sashi, actually, this conversation is very, very helpful. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and valuable for this podcast.